Hi, everybody. Welcome along to episode 66 of Percussion Discussion. First things first, as always, please check out our social media. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and of course, our world famous YouTube channel. If you go to the YouTube channel, then please subscribe. It really does help. It only takes a second. And of course, this ensures that you don't miss any of the fabulous upcoming episodes that we've got coming for you, or any of the previous episodes that we've done. If you prefer to listen on the go, then you'll find all of our conversations in podcast form on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So if that's your thing, go and download them and listen to them wherever you like. Please leave a review as well if you can. It only takes a second. And again, it really helps us. Thank you. On to today's guest. We are firmly back in the Legends Lounge once again. A gentleman who is the most recorded man, one of possibly the most recorded man in the United Kingdom, known by many as the British Hal Blaine. He's played on 42, possibly more, UK number ones alone throughout the 60s and the 70s. He was the man. He simply played on everything. A wonderful player, a wonderful guy. And you know you're doing all right when James Corden plays you in a film. So it gives me unbelievable pleasure to welcome the legendary Clem Cattini. Look, thanks so much for doing this. It's very kind of you.
No problem.
Oh, it's great to see you. And how are you? You keeping in good health?
As well as I can be under the circumstances of my age, yes.
Well, that's
I'm
good.
still above ground.
Let's put it away. That's a bonus, isn't it?
Which helps, yeah, exactly.
Especially after the last 18 months. So
Christ, yeah.
Definitely a bonus. So it was great to see you down at the Vintage Drum Show a couple of weeks ago. Did you have a good day?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it. It's nice, to see a few faces and see a few guys. Yeah. Listen to a few people playing drums and that. No, it was good. It was a good day. Nice to see friends and that.
Sounds like the perfect day, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it was, actually. No, it's good. I look forward to next year. Please, God.
Yeah, yes. Hey, fingers crossed, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about it. You've done a little bit over the years, haven't you?
Yeah. So I've been told.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to get the plug in early for you. Now, I've been picking my way through this fabulous book. And it really is an incredible read. And anybody watching this, go and get it.
Oh, good.
And you will enjoy it. And it's just full of nuggets. So, Clem, let's go back to the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
It all started, believe it or not, when I went to see the Blackboard Jungle.
Yeah.
With two mates of mine who played guitars. We came out of the cinema and they said, let's form a rock and roll group. I said, well, what do you want me to do? What shall I play? They said, you play drums. So I did. And that's how it started.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. I mean, as stupid as that, yeah. I mean, when we formed a group, which I played washboard, first of all.
Yeah.
Because, skiffle craze was going on.
Sure.
And then I progressed to drums. And then I became the sort of, myself and Brian Bennett of the Shadows, we became the house drummers of the Two Eyes Coffee Bar.
Wow!
So that's really how it started. Yeah.
Wow! So you and Brian were just you'd share it between you.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean we've been friends ever since. I mean, we've been good mates.
That's quite.
The only thing I don't like is a better player than me, which annoys me.
Well, the thing is that's according to you. You both do your thing, and hey, you've both made a massive success of it. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially Brian. Not only as a drummer, as a writer.
Yes.
And a producer and that. What he's the stuff he's written for shows and television, incredible. So. More so than me. I mean, I've never written. Well, the only thing I've sort of written is the book.
Well,
I've written some songs, but they've never been going to make number ones in the hot charts. That's certain.
You've certainly played on enough of them, though, haven't you? That's for certain.
Yeah, so I believe. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I have never personally ever claimed the stuff that I've played on because I don't know what I've played on. It's people have told me. You probably know yourself. You go and do a session, you don't know what you're doing. Half the time, they don't even tell you who it's for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm still getting people ringing me up now and saying, "Oh, by the way, did you know you played on my record?" Oh, did I? What was that then? You know, and there's so much stuff that I've forgotten. You know, and it was I was a musical navvy. You know, I was going and making records, going and then I would do another lot, then another lot. You know, so I can't remember. I was very lucky because at that period, all my peers were big band jazzers.
Mm.
You know, suddenly this hooligan came along, rock and roll hooligan. So, you know.
Well, it's hard to imagine, you know, the way things are with recording and gigging these days. So much is done from home and home studios. Just run us through what would be an average day in the life of Clem Cattini in a studio. What time would you start and what time would you finish?
Well, I mean, usually, on a busy week, when I had a busy week, it would start at 10 o'clock in the morning and finish at 10 o'clock at night, and sometimes till 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, you do like 10 till 1, 3-hour session, 2 o'clock till 5 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And then that time I was called 1 week, whichever, I think with my record, I did 21 sessions in a week. You know, actually, I tell a lie, I did 24 sessions in a week. I did 3 every day for 7 days, and then I did 3 days. I did midnight till 3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean,
so killed me, mine.
That's hard to imagine, isn't it? These days, hard to imagine that much work. I mean, you were in the heyday. It's as simple as that. And
oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
I bet you wouldn't swap it.
No way in a million years. No. We made music.
Yeah.
Because we played with each other, we listened to each other. You know, and that's what when it started getting to the 80s and it started to get what I called mechanical music, I just lost it, you know, because you make music with playing with people. You don't make music with a machine.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
you make with a machine, it's a product.
Yeah, absolutely. See, you made music and you made money as well, I'm sure, back in that, you know, that period.
Well, we made a good living. I mean, like, for instance, the first number one, of course, which is Shaking All Over.
Yeah.
I got £5.15, if you can remember that. If you're old enough to remember what shillings were.
But, you know, back in the day, obviously that now sounds very little, but at the time, was that a reasonable amount of money?
It wasn't. Yeah, of course it was. I mean, I was working for my old man, you know, in his cafe when I left school for £1 a week. Those were my wages, you know, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. It's hard to comprehend, isn't it? You know, the amount of work that there was. But there was no alternative to using live musicians, was there, back then?
No, exactly. You know, and I don't think the musicians, I'm not talking about me personally, but, you know, the guys, the players, I mean, I used to go in awe and look around and see all these faces, you know, that I used to listen to in big bands and that. And, you know, and they never really get the credit they deserve, you know. Well, you know, yourself, when you see a film, you get the lady that's made the tea, but you never get a credit for the musician, you know, which is sad, you know. It's not right, you know. After all, it is a profession. Yes. Well, I think it is anyway. It was.
Well, maybe was.
Yeah, it was.
And how was it trying to fit family life in around that? Because that's full on, isn't it? Every day, some, you know, all that. Was that tricky?
Yeah, well, no, it was easier for me because remember I'd been on the road since like when I was before Johnny Kidd, you know.
Yeah.
When I was blimey, I did a tour with Max Wolf for 3 months, you know, and then I did a tour I was with Terry Dean. I was one of the Dean Aces. Yeah. So I was on tour with that. Then I was with the Larry Parnes lot. Yeah. You know, with Billy Fury, Johnny Gentle, Dickie Pride, and all that lot. So to me, it was even better because I was actually sleeping in my own bed for once. Yeah. You know, even though I was out all day, I used to get home and I could sleep in my own bed and see the wife, you know. Which was slightly different, you know, when you're on the road like for 3 months. I was in Italy for 3 months, you know, things like that. So it was a lot easier, you know, and it was reasonably well paid.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for sleeping in your own bed at night, isn't there? Let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially sometimes my bed was the coach.
Yeah, well, that's
on tour. That's another story.
That's no fun whatsoever. That is it. You know?
Always used to call it the vomit box. But,
And would you say, are you, I mean, you're known mainly for obviously studio work. Were you happier working in the studio? Were you happier being on stage playing?
No, when I started doing sessions, because when I actually, the last sort of live gig that I ever did before I started doing sessions was with the Ivy League.
Right, okay.
And then they packed up because they'd had an accident, a car accident, and they decided not to tour anymore. And it suited me actually, because I started getting sessions. And I didn't do any sort of live work for about 18 months, which is a mistake, because you know yourself as a player. It's when you're out live and you do something, if you mess something up, does it matter? No, because 9 out of 10 people don't even know. Yeah. But when you're in a recording studio and you've got a brass section and they're all looking at you and you've got to keep doing a take because you messed up, it ain't fun. You know, so then I was on the road with Lulu and that. I was with Lulu in her band, you know, and Roy Orbison I did live. I did Roy at the Talk of the Town live and shit and all that lot, you know. So what a lovely man. What
was it like playing for Roy Orbison?
Oh, he was a gem. He was such a lovely man. He really was. Yeah, I keep telling this story over and over again. He took me and the wife out for an Indian meal in the Edgware Road, and it was the worst Indian meal I've ever had. And it was horrible. But he was such a lovely guy. And I always remember the name of the restaurant. It was called the Do What I Am. And it was awful. But anyway, it's not there now, thank God.
Oh, dear me. I mean, it must be a musician thing with Indian food, because it's always the first port of call, isn't it, after a gig or whatever? Oh, it's got the Indian.
Well, yeah, but because I think the whole thing was, you know, you do a gig and you got back to town at 1 o'clock in the morning and you knew the Indian was open.
Yeah.
So you could go and have a meal. That's what, you know, having an Indian at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know.
Very healthy.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was, certainly was.
Oh, amazing. And then, obviously, we have to touch on Joe Meek, the Tornadoes.
Right.
The film obviously I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I don't.
Good.
I don't know how close it was to the original. Obviously, you had James Corden playing you, which he's obviously in the last few years.
Ugly man. I'm only joking.
Now, I have to be honest, and I'm probably not going to earn any friends doing this, but I was never really a fan of his. I don't know, but I thought he did a spectacularly great job of being you, if you like. I thought he was brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he came round, actually. He came round to the house and asked for a few tips. Because evidently, I think his dad was a drummer, right. I believe, you know. He was, I mean, this is before he made his name, you know.
Of course.
And he was all right. He was quite a nice guy. Yeah. He was fine, you know. It was funny. I mean, I never thought for 1 minute. I mean, I always keep saying that I made him famous, but I don't think that's true, actually. But, you know,
we'll stick with that anyway. It sounds good.
Well, yeah, I'm going to keep thinking that anyway. So
obviously, it looks like he actually plays a bit in the film. His hands are certainly in the right. Yeah. Did you give him any?
I showed him certain things. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow, that's.
But I mean, the film. I mean, I got, you know, you get a lot of what the meat freaks, as I call them. They've got a lot of moaning about there wasn't enough music. But I said, well, hang on, it wasn't a musical. It was about some guy's life.
Yeah.
You know, this genius of a sound engineer who was musically was a moron, but a sound engineer was brilliant and made all these records. That's what it's about his life and the dramas he had in his life. You know, it wasn't a musical. You know.
It was a great film, and was it as fiery in real life as it was in the film? Because it was always rowing and fighting and arguing.
Oh yeah, some parts were. Yeah. I mean, there were certain things that they call artistic license. You know, the bit where they threw the tape recorder out the window wasn't quite true. It wasn't. It was down the stairs because I was walking. I was told to get out the studio because I told them I didn't like Globetrotter, which is the follow-up. And it was all the hell broke loose, and I was shushed out of the studio. And all of a sudden, I heard thump, 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 thump. I looked around, and this tape recorder's coming down the stairs at me, you know, and goes smash straight through the front door. Fortunately, I was quite quick, so I managed to get out of the way. You know. So that. But, no, they did it for artistic license, I suppose.
But it was great. I mean, it was a fun film as well. Lots of swearing. Lots of farting going on.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'll tell you what, the guy that played Joe was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
He really was. He was tremendous. Tremendous. He was really, really good.
I don't know about you. I mean, it's going to be slightly different for you, obviously, of having been part of it. But watching it, after a little while, you really think it's him, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I did. Yeah, believe me. Yeah, I was sitting there. I mean, the same, funny enough, the play, I went to see the play, and the guy that played Hines, I mean, it was shivery when I was watching the play, watching Hines, because that was so much like it as well. You know, the way he played him. You know, this guy Flash, he thought he was the great gift to the world. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, as a bass player, forget it. You know. I always say he was the only guy I know that could play bass with boxing gloves on, or sounded like he had boxing gloves on.
Was he really that bad?
Oh, well, he couldn't play basically, seriously, you know.
Yeah.
The full stop, unfortunately. I mean, you know, I still wonder if he actually played on Telstar, because the bass. I mean, because it's quite a complicated song.
Yeah.
So, you know, but most guitar players play it said that the chord sequences are quite you know, unusual. You know.
And let's be honest, you've played with some great bass players over the years, haven't you?
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
To name but one.
John Paul Jones, Les Hurdle, loads. You know, I mean, the best. You know, and it's an amazing thing because you know, I always think, you know, we look across the channel to see how wonderful like the musicians in America are, but having met a few American musicians, they look at us and think how wonderful we were. Absolutely. You know, I mean, a friend of mine is the Boss's drummer, Max Weinberg.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
You know, and Max was like, he was when he came over, he invited me to the show and we had a chat, and he knew more about me and British music and English players than I did. You know, it was incredible. Mind you, I did upset him a bit because I did mention the fact that Dave Clark never played on his records.
I've heard this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Bobby Graham mainly that played on.
Yeah.
And I actually did an album with him as well. And he said to me, he said, he's a nice guy, Dave, in fairness, very clever man. People don't realise, you know, business-wise, he was the first one. You know, he owns everything he made.
Quite wealthy.
Yeah, but now, because he owns all the records that he made himself. Yeah. And he said, don't do anything too complicated because I have to try and follow it to copy it, you know. But he's a nice guy, in fairness, you know.
You know, that was one thing I was going to ask. I don't tend to write questions down. I just write bullet points.
No, it's fine.
But there's one thing that you've played on so many albums. The Kinks, for example, you know, who've already got, you know, great drummers. Have you ever met any or run into any trouble from drummers who you've had to play with their band on the recordings, for example? You know, they're like, well, why not? Why am I not good enough, sort of thing? No,
well, I mean, in fairness, with the Kinks, I mean, Nick Cave is a fine drummer. Yeah. I mean, in fairness, it was a question of, I mean, I did the Kinks Controversy album in one day. Yeah. We did it in 3 sessions, which is 9 hours, you know, which I got 27 quid for, by the way. That's how rich we are. So anyway, but the thing, it wasn't that, it was just a matter of speed, a matter of getting things down quicker. Yeah. You know, we could do things quicker. The only time I did any aggravation at all was when I was doing Top of the Pops and with Michael Jackson's drummer, because I had to play for the Jackson 5.
Oh, right, okay.
Because they weren't, obviously the union rules stated they couldn't, they're American, they couldn't play, I had to play. And this guy gave me grief all day long, having goes at me about he wanted to play. And I said, I don't mind. It's not down to me. I'm quite happy to, you can do, and I go to the pub. I don't care, you know. And in fairness, Michael eventually came over and told me to get out of the studio. You know, I imagine, I think he was walking on the ceiling a bit as well. I think as well didn't help. So, but, you know, that's the only time really any grief that I've had. Most of the stuff, like the Bay City Rollers stuff I had, they weren't even there.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, you know. Mick Avery was there. He was in the box watching. I I felt a bit bad, I felt a bit sort of out of it, but it was just a question of getting things down quicker. That's all it was.
I mean, do you take any, it's a difficult question to ask this, but do you take guidance from what they want on a session like that? Because obviously they're going to play it live, or do you just do what you think is correct on a situation like that? Just
do what you think the song requires, basically. And then if they can't play it after that, it's their problem, not mine, So, I mean, there's certain things that I did, all those loads of stuff. The Doc's name sang on them. Tony, what's his name?
Christy.
The singer. He did he had about 5 hits, singing on each one of them, and it was a session group. I did most of them anyway.
Tony.
Tony. I'll think of it in a minute. He was a session singer, but he did like so many records. I mean, and the thing is, a lot of the stuff that I did, the group wasn't. For instance, there was a band called a thing called The Bump by Kenny.
Yes, yeah.
Well, when we recorded the song, there wasn't even a band. The guy just recorded it, got in the charts, and then he formed this band called Kenny.
Unbelievable.
So that was a lot of difference. I mean, I was sitting in for a lot of group drummers that when I started doing sessions.
Yeah. It's something I've often wondered, because, and especially, excuse me, if they're there, sitting there watching, it must be, oh, dear me. I don't know. Get used to it, I suppose.
Yeah, there was only one guy got a bit nasty, was The Herd. Do you remember the band called The Herd? I played on most of their stuff.
Yeah.
And he wasn't very happy. But I was saying, nothing to do with me. Have a word with your manager or have a word with the recording man. You see, another thing is we were studio experts, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, yourself, it's a difference between different playing live and different playing in the studio. Yeah. Completely different, The approach has to be different. I mean, one of the first sessions I ever did for George Martin, I went up to listen to in the box and it sounded like World War V, And I thought it wasn't what was wanted. They're looking at me as I was mad. Yeah. And, you realise that, hang on, that's not what it's about, Yeah,
of course.
I mean, I was lucky, I didn't have a technique, so it worked, if you know what I mean.
Well, you must have had something.
Yeah, my technique was not having one. You know what I mean? I just played straight down the line. I was a rock and roller,
But isn't that that's playing for the song, isn't it? That's what you
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what people do.
Yeah, this is what I tell kids. Yeah. When I was doing these I said, listen, use your ears and play for the song. That's what's important, play the song. It's no good doing Olympic drumming around a kit and all that 300 miles an hour and you're doing a ballad. It don't work,
Absolutely.
I mean, let's put it this way, I've never been an Olympic drummer anyway, so I was lucky, I suppose.
Well, it's worked, hasn't it? And
it's obviously worked at the time, yeah. I mean, there's so many good players around now, it's unbelievable,
Well,
technique-wise.
I actually spoke to Simon Phillips. You mentioned Simon. And now I sent him a message, and I said about what you'd said working with him when he was number one. He said, "No, I want to be number one." And he said, "Was it at Lansdowne Studios in Notting Hill Gate?" It was indeed. It was at Lansdowne Studios at Notting Hill Gate. He remembers it, and Simon says to send his regards to you. So there we go. Well, that's fair. And I'll tell you what, I remember it as well. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there. I was on number one drums, and he was on second drum. I said, "No. Hang on, you play number one, I'll play number two." I mean, I couldn't believe the technique the kid has got. He's such a fine player anyway. Oh, you know. But he remembers it well, though, Clem. He really does. I hope he remembers it nicely. He was, absolutely. Totally, he does. So it was really good. So, he's a fan as well. He sends his regards. Oh, that's nice, yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Oh, there we go. That's nice. Held in high regard. Yeah, no, he's a lovely guy, Simon. Oh, incredible. I mean, and I was going to ask, you weren't a reader initially, were you? No, I didn't know. There's been a project hatchet, to be honest with you. But I said, well, and it was one session that I did that I came terribly unstuck. Yeah. I was late for the session. It was a 10 to
It was a 10-1, and my wife put down 2-5. It was a 10-5. So I was laying in bed at 10 o'clock. The phone rings. Where are you? And it was for Tony Hatch, who wasn't the nicest guy to work for anyway.
Right.
And I get this part thrown at me in 9/8. I look 9/8. So I'm trying to read 4/4, and about 9/8. You know. So the thing is, then it got a bit heated, and I went out. I left the studio, packed the drums up, and went because I couldn't cope with it. You know, he wanted to do a take straight away, and not being a reader, I needed a couple of run-throughs. You know. Anyway, the only thing I could say, I looked around it, and I turned around, so I've been slung out of better bands than yours, and went, and that was about it. But then I decided I've got two choices: throw the drums in the river, or learn to read. So a guy called Andy White.
Okay.
I went to Andy for reading lessons, and he was a lovely guy. I mean, he taught me so much reading wise. Yeah. But then, you know, I realised afterwards that the 9 out of 10 time I walk in the studio and what I played the day before was written down the next day, so it didn't, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
just
reading has a place, doesn't it? Without doubt.
Absolutely. You know, I always tell people it's a means to an end. It's not the end. It's a means that you start together, you play things occasionally together, and then hopefully together. But, you know, I was glad that I learnt to busk. You know, I was a busker first because it got me out of trouble so many times when I was in the middle of a park. Go, where the hell am I? And, you know, because of your busking skills, you can sort it out, you know. And I'll be honest, most of the time when I started doing sessions, I could play rock and roll better than they could write it. So they used to leave it to me, you know.
Absolutely. Well, one Phil I want to talk about is The Love Affair. You know, obviously, which track that is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great song, and it's a song I've always liked. Always.
It is a good, yeah.
And so that Phil, was that written? Or was that?
No, it was me.
Yeah. That's a Clem
It was probably a mistake. Well,
beautiful song, great song.
Oh, great song. Yeah, it is a great. It's American, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Great song, a great singer.
Yeah, absolutely.
The guy's a good singer.
I mean, it was still to the day, it's still popular. You know, you can put it on, you hear it, and you go to an event, and it's on a DJ on, and it's there, and it still fills the dance floor.
Yeah.
So, one thing I was going to ask about, Clem, was equipment. Now, were you? Obviously, I'm sure you had a few kits if you're doing multiple sessions. Were you a stickler for having the same gear every time, or would you change your setup much?
If I put, I mean, I'm mainly 90% of the sessions that I did were done on my Ludwig kit.
Yeah.
You know, the Ludwig classic ones, which I bought in 1960 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Was it 1960? Cost me 50 quid. You know,
a lot of money then.
A lot it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you know. But no, I mean, not for basically for me. It was mainly for the engineers.
Yeah, of course.
Because, you know, I mean, a guy that was to work at Pi called Alan Florence, who's a mate of mine, was he did all the loads of stuff at Pi Records. Yeah. And he said he used to like, when I used to see me in the corner, he was pleased because he said that he knew that he was going to get a sound. Yeah. So that's why I try to use the same gear.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean,
it is important to have that stuff, isn't it? You know, were you a Zildjian guy as well, or?
No, funnily enough, I was pasty. Believe it or not. Yeah, I was pasty. I was contracted to pasty, which was very good in some respects. I mean, if I did stuff abroad, I just rang them up and they used to supply a kit and everything for me. You know, to be carrying stuff over there wherever we were going. You know. But fun enough, I did the thing called The Kids from Fame. Don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, when I did the tour with them, 2 tours with them, I had to use Yamaha.
Right.
Because, you know, they were contracted to Yamaha. If you see the films, they got all Yamaha gear, so I had to use it.
So was this a tour of the musical then?
Yeah, it was all the original cast and everything, yeah.
Oh, amazing. I bet that was great.
It was. Oh, it was, yeah. We did the Albert Hall for 2 days, and 2 days, and it broke all box office records. It was great to play. I loved doing it. It was really good crack and good thump up.
because
as they say.
there were songs like High Fidelity and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, all that. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Fame itself. Oh, so many good songs in it.
Yeah. So did Irene Cara turn up to see it at any point?
No, she wasn't. She didn't do it, actually. She did it. She did come out. We did a tour in Israel, and she came out to Israel and did it over there. But the original one we did at the Albert Hall, she didn't turn up. In actual fact, I think it's on YouTube. The actual concert from the Albert Hall, yeah.
Right, oh, that's got to be worth a look then, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But no, but I mean, that I used the Yamaha because they insisted I used the Yamaha kit.
Yeah.
Which was great because I got a Yamaha kit out of it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, were you endorsed back in the day, or was it you just bought your own? Well, you said you bought.
Well, look,
so
no, the first kit I had was like made. I mean, the bass drum I was lucky to look over the top of it. It was so big. So one of them was a big palm tree on the front. It cost me 20 quid and bits and pieces that I bought, and a military snare drum and all that. It had the separate wires, snares, everything.
Sure.
Then I got myself a Premier, which suddenly everything warped. It ended up, instead of all the drums being round, they ended up being oval for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh dear.
And then the first kit I got endorsed by was Trixon.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, which was quite a good kit.
Lovely kit.
But I mean, session-wise, I used my Ludwig.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. The bass drum got an explosion, Yeah. And I was the first guy to actually take the front head off and put a blanket inside.
Really?
Yeah, on sessions. I saw it on an American TV program, and I thought, the guy's got his head off and he's got this blanket. And the sound, that was just one with Joe Meek.
Yes.
As well, because Joe was full of that. I used to use the bass drum case.
Oh, really?
With the beater. Yeah, hit the case with the beater.
Oh, wow.
It was awkward to play because nothing just holding it onto the
just moving about. Well, he was. You get that. He was keen to experiment with anything, I suppose. Joe Meek.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was used to stand in the toilet, dropping marbles into the toilet, and he'd record it. So many daft things.
But hey, it's just you've made an incredible legacy for yourself, haven't you? Do you ever think about that? All the stuff you've done, and
no, I don't. It was a job, I never. The only thing is now I look back and think I should have enjoyed it more while I was doing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, would you maybe have paid more attention to? How do I put this? To who the song was for or what the song was. Obviously, there's a lot of songs you've played on you don't remember who it was for or what it was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, because the thing is, a lot of the stuff that I did originally was people that weren't even stars.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. They were nobodies. They were just singers that came in. So like Tom Jones, Green Grass at Home. Yeah, I mean, he'd already got the number one record. Well, it didn't go number one, did it?
I don't know.
It's not unusual. I don't think it did.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
No. But I did the Green Grass at Home, which did go to number one. Anyway, the thing was, 9 times out of 10, we didn't even know who the singer was.
Yeah.
Because the union had this rule that you must have the singer in the studio singing while you're playing.
Right.
Well, what they use now is 16-track and 4-track, 8-track and 16-track, 24-track. They get the guy off the street and go stand there, make out you're singing. I know sometimes like the producer's girlfriend or the sound man's girlfriend was in the box singing or supposedly singing. Yeah. To cover the union rules, which was stupid. They were so behind in their thinking.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? It was a different world back then, wasn't it? It really was.
Oh, that's right, wasn't it? Just God, I mean, so many things. I mean, we had a different mentality to the union mentality. I mean, it got put aside eventually because it was stupid. Because with the modern technology, you just take who you want off and put who you want on. So it didn't make a difference, with 16, 24 track. You could do what you like, So then they suddenly woke up and realised that it was silly.
It's well, I don't know. But everything changes, doesn't it? But I was going to ask you about a few of the tracks. And now one was an album I've heard, and I had no idea you played on it, and that's the Paul McCartney, the Thrillington.
Oh, Percy Thrillington, yeah.
That's a fantastic album. I mean, I suppose it was a bit of a plaything for McCartney, I suppose.
It was exactly. I don't think it was ever going to be released. I think he just did it for a laugh, for something to do, as they do.
Of course. Some great results, though. I mean, Dear Boy is the track I'm going to refer to.
Oh, right, okay.
You play some exquisite brushes on there, Clem, I have to say.
Thank you very much, yeah. Oh, well, funny enough, I wasn't too bad on brushes because nobody could hear me.
Oh, hey, I tell you, I can hear them. It's fabulous.
Yeah, no,
it really is.
No, great. Yeah, no, it was a good album to do. I mean, I knew the Beatles before they were the Beatles, because they were still the Beatles when I first knew them. Because when I used to work with Billy Fury in the late 50s, they used to come and, can you take us in to meet him? Because they were big fans of his,
Wow.
And I'm fun enough. I mean, I remember doing a session at EMI, or Abbey Road, as they call it now for some reason. And Paul McCartney was upstairs in the big studio, and I was downstairs, number 2. And he said to me, I said, "What are you doing?" I didn't even know he was doing Wings at the time, and he gave me tickets to go to see the concert and go to the after party and all that, So yeah, it was. So it was nice to do the album, actually. It was very good.
Oh, it's great.
Great arrangements on it as well.
And some wonderful playing. And I think, is it Herbie Flowers on that as well?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Herbie Flowers, myself. I can't remember who's on it now. I've got the album somewhere, I haven't listened to it for a long time, so.
Well, are you a fan of brush playing or brush players?
Yeah, yes, I believe it or not. No, yeah. When I was doing some trips on the boats and that, with a little trio. I used to play a lot of brushes. I used to enjoy it. Yeah, it was. It's something that I do recommend for young drummers to learn. I think it's essential.
It's a whole other art form on its own, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it just? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. No. I like it. I think it can be very effective as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the list of songs. I mean, I've got things just here. I've got T-Rex, Dusty Springfield, literally the Walker Brothers. I mean, names don't get any bigger than that era,
Yeah, I suppose not. Yeah, but I'm saying a lot of them weren't that big. They weren't. The Walker Brothers. They weren't known then. No. They made the record and they became famous. Like Lulu became famous. Yeah. After and funnily enough, the Lulu stuff, the guy that did the arrangements on the stuff, Loves Love, and Boat That I Row and all that, was John Paul Jones.
Was it really?
He was the arranger. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And also Herman's Hermits, which I did, and No Milk Today. That was John Paul Jones. Wow. He did the arrangement for that.
I have no idea.
He was a great musician, John.
Because, gosh, I'm quite shocked by that, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, we were in the same band. We was in Lulu's backing band, John Paul Jones. He was on bass. And because we used to travel together because he didn't drive. So I used to pick him up, and also, of course, the hurdy-gurdy man.
Oh, yeah.
That was John Paul Jones,
Yeah. Just incredible. I mean, obviously we've talked bass players. Who did you have a favourite bass player you used to like working with? Yeah,
John. I worked with John and Herbie, and obviously Les Hurdle.
Yeah.
Brian Hodges. There were some great players about at that time. In fairness, because when I first started, the bass players, they were sort of like the bum, ba bum, bum, ba bum. Then suddenly the Herbie came in, and Les and all those people. Les invented disco, didn't Les Hurdle? Because he did all the Donna Summer stuff,
Of course.
So, but John Paul Jones was a great bass player and he's just a great musician. He plays keyboards. Yeah, wow. It was.
You've had an amazing. I look at the list and I keep looking at it and I keep reading bits from the book and it's just phenomenal. And the fact that you don't really think anything of it is, I love that. The fact that you're so incredibly humble.
Well, I'm not trying to be humble. I don't dismiss it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. Really, some of it I'm proud of. You know, I mean, at that time nobody said anything anyway. Nobody cared. You know, you just, as somebody once said, I was probably the quietest drummer in the world. You know, everybody heard me, but nobody knew who it was.
Yeah.
So if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest, I was too busy running around making money for other people. You know, so it was one of those situations. But I'm not. You know, it's not that. Yeah, I'm proud of some of the stuff I did. Sure. Yeah. Of course I am. You know.
I mean, when you look back, I mean, the names, they just go on and on. I mean, 40 odd number ones. That's not even to mention, you know, number twos, number threes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I did well. I think I had a number one and number two in the charts at one time, which was Everlasting Love and Bonnie and Clyde. You know.
There's one more song I'd like to ask you about, and that's Massachusetts, the Bee Gees, which is just
Bee Gees, yeah.
It's probably my favourite Bee Gees song, and it's
it's good arrangement as well, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have good memories of recording with them?
Oh yeah, I mean, because we became sort of good friends, especially with Morris, because he was married to Lulu. Of
course.
And when I was working with Lulu, he was always there. You know. I remember the phone call at bloody 1 o'clock in the morning. He's on the phone crying because she'd left him, you know, because they split, you know.
Sure.
We were working in Southend at a club there. But no, they're great. I had some great times with them. They were great guys. Great, very talented. Another lot of talent. You know, hate them.
Well, you have a fair talent yourself, Clem. Let's be honest about it.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I was at the right place at the right time. Let's put it that way as well. So,
do you genuinely believe that it was a bit of luck involved as well?
Oh, yeah, because I mean, I was lucky in the fact that my contemporaries were all big band players. You know, I was a rocker. That's like Bobby Graham. That's why Bobby Graham did so much, because we came from rock and roll roots. You know, we were rockers and we had a rock and roll feel. I mean, they couldn't write rock and roll because nobody knew about it.
Course.
You know, that's where I used to come and not unstuck, but things got difficult because they started writing down stuff that I played and I couldn't read it, you know. So, but no, I think that's where the luck came in. You know, I know that it's like the old story: you get the in, but it's up to you whether you stay there or not. You know. Exactly. So that, and maybe my talent kept me there, but the thing is, the luck was getting me in the first place. You know, getting me into it.
But the thing is, you had to deliver pretty quickly when you were in there.
And honestly, I suppose I did. You know, I mean, I must have done. I lasted long enough, I suppose, until the proper drummers came in the scene. And I thought, thank you, good night. Because you know yourself, some great players about.
Oh, some incredible. You know,
as you
say, it's like taking it to a different level now. But would you want to hear some of that on a song? Possibly not. You know.
No. Well, I remember what's his name, the Austrian drummer, Thomas Lang, who's a friend of mine. Yeah, I mean, I remember we went to see him doing a drum demonstration thing, and I know what he's like. I don't know if you've seen him.
I have.
I mean, he's incredible, isn't he?
Yes.
And the last thing he said, if I played like that on a gig, I'd get the sack. Yeah. You know, and he's so true. You know, I mean, it's Olympic. It's going to be an Olympic sport. You know, I'm sure it is. Absolutely. Olympic drumming, definitely.
It's a hell of a dedication to get to that point. I mean,
and it just.
There's not enough. I haven't got enough years left to get to that level.
Well, I mean, I've never had a lesson in my life apart from reading lessons, and there was no teachers about when I started. You know, I mean, I never started till I was 17. Yeah. You know, so as well. So, yeah. I mean, when everybody I speak to, I started when I was 5. Or I started when I was. I mean. Simon fell out the womb onto a drum kit, I think, you know.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Is there any drummers at the moment that, you know, you see with similarities to yourself that you think, yeah, he's carrying the torch, if you like?
Well, no, there's certain drummers that I watch and I think, yeah, great. I mean, Ralph Salmons.
Ralph is
probably
my favourite drummer.
Yeah, he can read anything in, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if we went to past a telegraph pole with the wires and there was birds, and he started playing that, you know, but the birds sitting on the telegraph pole. So, no, he could read anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, another favourite of mine was Barry Morgan was a favourite of mine as well.
Yeah, of course.
And his son's not bad either, Brett.
Strictly, isn't he? Yeah.
Brett does Strictly, but he's not a bad player. You know, but I think people that played like me, I don't think anybody played like me. I think they most had better technique than I had. So,
you know, I think you do yourself an injustice there, Clem. I really do.
No, I'm just being a realist, because when I look at these, I think, Christ, you know, I look at people like Thomas Lang and people like that. I know they dedicate their lives to playing, and I go, the technique they've got, you know. I mean, I can't even do a paradiddle properly, you know. Let's put, you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, but I got away with it. So what the hell?
Hey, that's the all important thing. And you know, the legacy is there for any doubters to see. Yeah. It's all there listed.
Yeah. Well,
incredible achievement. It really is. And
well, thank you for saying so. You know, but
hey,
I'm not dismissing it. I'm not trying to be dismissive and sort of humble about it all. No, I'm proud of what I've done. You know, of course I am. You know, I mean, you know, I mean, but at the end of the day, there's a certain amount of luck. You know, because you know, to get the openings that started, you know, I mean, the reason I started doing sessions, I was doing a lot of demo sessions, and I got phone calls. Did you do the demo? Yeah. Can you come and do the master? Like Devil Woman with Cliff. I did the demo record of it, and they phoned up, and Bruce phoned up, said, "Did you do the demo?" I said, "Yeah, could you come and do the master?" You know, that's how what I mean, luck-wise, you know.
And what a great song!
Oh yeah, another one, yeah.
From an era when Cliff used to do kind of, it was a rock song, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. The thing is, he didn't realise it was about a prostitute.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what it is, Devil Woman. That's why he very rarely sung it later on in his career, because of that. Because he suddenly I think wised him up that it was about a prostitute. You know.
Yeah,
great song though.
You don't put those two words in a sentence, Cliff Richard and prostitute, generally.
No, not really. No. I mean, although fairness, I had 2 good years with him. You know, working with him, he was great. Yeah, great to work with. You know, professional, absolute pro. You know, deserves to be where he is.
Yeah,
because you know everything was, and nothing was was chanced. I mean, the rehearsals we rehearsed for a month before we went on tour.
Wow.
The only things, I found by the time we got on tour, I was fed up with playing it. But, you know.
Oh, look, Clem, this has been, I don't know how long how long? Let's have a look. We've been talking for 50 minutes. It feels more like 10. So, look, thank you so much for giving up your time.
My pleasure. No problem.
Honestly, it's been a joy. It really has. Hopefully, I'll see you at the Vintage Drum Fair again next
year. Yeah. Hopefully next year. Please God, keep them crossed.
Yes.
As long as I'm still above ground, I'll be there.
Good. Well, it'd be good to see you. And don't forget, get the book bought. It's all in there, isn't it? Everything's in there.
Yes, it's all there. Yeah.
Nothing escapes.
No.
Thank you, Clem. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome, mate. Thanks for asking.
Take care. See you soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Ta-ra, mate.